So all of you on screen, eh?
Yeah.
All right, welcome back. As usual, Network is trying to misbehave, and you can see it's a full house. Everybody's around. Coach Harry, the disruptor, the one who messed us up, is here. Very clear. And I think we introduced everybody else. President Luwosi, and of course, my brother there, Mulo, both coming from regional associations, Midlands and the CBA. And today, Harry is wearing the hat of a basketball administrator. Some of you that may not know, Harry served in the Midlands Basketball Association, and he also, used to. I think you are still involved in Zika's Blazers. Am I correct? Okay, so he founded that team, was the president, did his thing, and today he is the coach for one of the best teams in the country. But at the same time, we'll be drawing from his, experience in administration, and also just to get his 2 cents on what is happening. So please try to interact with us on this particular platform. I think the previous one where we started, we're having some significant network challenges, but all the same, we will not give up until we talk basketball, which is what we do all the time. So I think, Lubos, you had answered the question on what you're doing to uplift the technical. And I believe, Mulo, you also did justice to that question, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with you, Mulo. Yeah, because there was a question for you. I think there was a question that DJ Kasuli had asked. He wanted to know what happened to Ndola takers and Ndola nets. You can also couple that with what you're doing from Kuda to be able to uplift the quality of the technical aspect, which is referees and table officials on the Copper Belt. So we'll start with you, Mulo, on that.
Okay. I answered Kuda's question about Ndola nets and takers. I mentioned to him that the team merged and they were called Ndola Titans. So they managed to finish the whole season. They're still in the Super League. Rumor has it they might split. We're not sure. It's just a rumor. So we'll probably see them again as Titans than Ndola Nets or Ndola Takers. Then in terms of the uplifting of the technical aspects, beginning of the last season, we did have, I think we had, if not two, we had one workshop for the referees and table officials, which went well. We had a local one, which was done by Mr. Sandevesa, and then we had another one which was done by what do you call that organization? There was a Christian organization that came through, something Crusaders, something came through. Yeah, they had one as well. So, like Luwosi said, it would be nice to have two of them again as the season progresses, where you have your spot checks and see how far you're going. It would be nice to have that, but unfortunately we couldn't, so we only lived with that same one. In the same vein, off as the GS, as a coach, there's always a complaint of how referees handle games. We have an issue, as a coach, I have an issue. Referees are untouchable. You can't complain about a referee's performance because a referee is not graded. Do we have a grading system for referees? If there is, why don't we use it? We cannot keep saying the same thing. Even when you're given a ref, you're just saying, oh my gosh, it's Harry who's reffing. Ish, this guy can't see in the dark. Ish, Harry does this. Ish, Harry is drunk. That will go the entire season. There will be no one to correct that. So on the technical aspect, maybe Luwosi might have an answer, maybe Harry might have an answer. How do we hold referees and table officials accountable? How do we, the coaches and the players, make these people better? They will try to make us better by wrong calls, right calls, which are never obviously called. So how do we help them get better? We organize the so-called workshops. 3 days later, the same thing you were corrected is the same thing he's going to call against. So, it's a long way. So I don't know what my other two colleagues have got to say about that. Thanks.
Oh, I think where Mulo has left it, if I may, Wendy.
Okay, so before
Hello?
we bring them on, Mulo, whilst you're on, there's a question there from Kuda, which I find very interesting. There's a game that Kuda watched. There's a game that Kuda watched. Okay. Maybe just before you come in, just before you come in, I want him to answer this. Kuda is saying there's a game that he watched where a basketball fan was assaulting a referee. He's saying a team follower was assaulting a referee. Was that team sanctioned, or is there a rule that protects referees as spectators are just a step away from the sideline?
Yes, there are protocols that are there to protect referees. As a fan, I have the right to cheer.
So what's your answer for that?
Fan, that's where I'm getting to. There are things that are put in place. As a fan, I have the right to cheer the team. Maybe I'm not allowed to boo the team to a certain degree. And also, I have to watch my language. I cannot go to a certain level. The game Kuda is talking about, my team was actually playing. I actually witnessed everything that happened. There was an exchange of words. The fan went overboard. The referee lost it, and a scuffle began. The scuffle stopped. The referee put himself together, continued to ref the game. Professional job done. The game went on. Reports were done, both to the association, the Copa Build Association, and also to the Referees Association. The Referees Association looked into the matter. They had video evidence, and we also looked into the matter. We had video evidence on the fan. So at the end of the day, it is up to the responsibility falls on the fan. When a referee notices that there is a rowdy fan, they have the right to stop the game.
Molo.
Yes.
Molo,
yes.
as GS, did you sanction the fan? As GS?
Yes.
You're not the coach now, you're the GS. Did you sanction the fan?
Yes, I did sanction the fan.
What punishment did you give the fan?
I think it was a 4-match ban from the arena. He was not allowed to attend 4 games.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, let me bring on Lobosi, who wanted to say something concerning what you had asked with regards to the oversight on referees. Over to you, Lobosi.
Thanks, Wendy. Mulo stated posted a very interesting question. Okay, I think we've had these issues before. Harry can also attest to this. Since referees now have their own association, and with the guidance of ZBF, who say that referees are under them and they can only be disciplined by ZBF, it takes away a bit of authority from the associations who have to witness some of bad calls that should not be, some underperformances from referees at times. And there are times where we've actually complained to the Referees Association, and something has been done. Kudos to them, and it's not all bad. They have taken action where it is blatantly clear that, okay, a foul happened to it, in terms of how they were reffing or officiating a game. But the truth of the matter is that there is no oversight. As MBA, we have discussed ways on how to deal with referees. For example, we have to pay the referees when the matches are done. We're working towards that particular understanding with the referees, that if something is bad. And this is what I was actually also trying to inform the affiliates, the clubs. Just as referees can point at you and complain against you, you as a club can point and lodge a complaint against the referee. We had a situation somewhere along the season where we actually opted not to use a referee, and they were suspended for a number of games because we thought the refereeing and officiating was unacceptable. But the bottom line is that there's no oversight on referees. Referees deal with referees, and disciplinary issue is a ZBF issue according to the directive that we were given. Yes, we can still hold back certain payments here and there. We can refuse for certain reps to do that. But you see, we advise not to go too deep into such a style of dealing with things. I think this is where now ZBF needs to really put into place policies to allow associations who are on the ground, who are seeing what's happening. Because you see, even some of these fights that occur, they don't occur because guys deal. No, they occur because some fans can't take the bad officiating, So referees also need to take the blame. We don't condone violence or any form of assault, but you must look at what is the root cause, okay? Even bad officiating, some people lose it, okay? So we need to find a way, and it still comes back to clinics. The question that Kuda had raised is that we need to find a way to ensure that our referees are equipped with the skills to ref according to at least a reasonable standard. Like I said, the season has been good. We've seen some very good refereeing from the senior lawyers, the senior referees, and then the upcoming referees as well. So I think for that one, we still need to have a chat with the mother body. Let them give us a bit more guidance on how we can deal with some of these issues. To this day, those are prevalent issues. Like I said, it's not all bad. Referees get it right sometimes. Sometimes there's no bad comment you can give a referee because they did their best. But there are those ones, those moments, and they need to take ownership for that and must be held accountable for that. So I'm equally waiting to have a sit down with the mother body and see how best we can deal with this together with the referees for the betterment of the sport.
Okay, let me bring in Harry now. Harry obviously would like to hear from you. The gentleman, first of all, described the season in the earlier broadcast where we didn't have much luck with network. They said so far the season was a success. They pointed to the issue of the technical improvements, the clinics, the referees, and a few other stuff. The quality of play has improved. Those were the major things pointed to by the two gentlemen. What is your take? What is your view? Would you say the season was a success? Before you comment on the referees, start with that.
Okay. Thank you, Winston. For me, the season was a success. Yes, it's coming to completion. So success is always there. But the challenges were there as well. To start with, as a basketball lover, I'm not very pleased with how we had so many stoppages to the league. I know a number of teams were going a month without a game. It's not healthy for the development of the game. I also would love to know, I don't know at what point at the end of this show, I would also want to know what was the rationale behind the format for the B League, it being developmental. I don't know if all technical issues or all technical consideration were put into place for a developmental league to only have 14 games in a season. Trust me, in the next few years, we will not have any quality players if we had to move at that pace. I'm with a view that even the Super League itself, I always talk about this with my basketball coaches and basketball people, that the games that we play are just too few in a season. And to see the B League playing 14 games in a season, almost like 1 or 2 games in a month, it won't help us in any way, because that's a developmental league. They need a lot of games. So I don't know if technical consideration were put into place when coming up with that format, but it's a format that we would have loved to throw suggestions on how we can improve the game. So I don't know now if I can move on to the referees. Well,
Yes, please go ahead. Go
concerning,
ahead. Move on to referees.
yes, so concerning the referees, one would tell you for sure that the quality of the game, the referees are involved in the development of the game. Okay? Where there's bad officiating, the standards of the game goes down. And where there's good officiating, the standards of the game will always go up. We've seen it at the international level. Every time we go for international engagements, the conduct of the referees, the way they officiate games is totally different from what we see when we're playing our local games. So to a surprise, and obviously for reasons known, that at international level, obviously stakes are high for the referees. They get paid well. Maybe that is why. And when coming to our local leagues, maybe, well, for lack of better terms, maybe they get peanuts. And from my point of view, our officiating can only improve if we detach ourselves from voluntary work. I remember when I was in administration as MBA treasurer, we had a review. We had many meetings with the referees, and their complaints, or their um, complaints to say, were that we never used to pay them enough, even just to make them come for games, to show up. The monies that we were giving them were not even enough to make one referee move from his place to the arena. We reviewed that at the time, and I think we had increased their pay. And overall, when we sat down as an association executive at the time, we agreed that moving forward, it would have been better if we found sponsors for referees so that it can help them have proper
But
structures
but
as well.
but
Yes,
but
sir.
Harry, but Harry,
Yes.
why would the focus be so much on the issue of the money? Okay, did they address the issue of the quality? Did they put their house in order, to be able to address the things that they were going through, or the complaints? For example, the feedback that people would give, did they address those things and then say, we have fixed our house, we're now coming to you to say, look, you need to remunerate us well? Did that happen? And did you guys have
So
an issue where referees seem to be a body that cannot be, say, they don't answer to anybody, they are not held accountable to anybody except themselves? Did you have that challenge as well? If so, did you address it or cure it?
we did have all those challenges where we had issues on how to hold the referees accountable for their actions, because the structures did not support. And like Lubosi has mentioned, the mother body, ZBF, are the ones that are responsible to discipline the referees. But also, there are the referees themselves. Their house has not been in order for the longest time due to continuous concerns from them about the finances. I'll give you a very practical example. In NBA, one referee has to blow 3 to 4 games in order for them to come out with a substantial amount in a day. Now, tell me how that can improve our game. Because if one referee has to blow 4 games.
A little bit of.
Hello, Wendy, can you hear me?
The much needed conversation that we're supposed to be having here. Okay, so I'm seeing some responses here. Okay, Milken, this is why I wanted you on the show, Milken. I wanted you on the show specifically for this. Okay. Okay, so that is an answer there from Milken concerning the B League. The B League was split in 2 pools, Pool A's and B. This was the result of having it using, okay. Secondly. Okay. Interesting. I can't wait for the gentleman to come back and be able to respond to some of those. So I'm just waiting for my discussants to join again.
Hello?
So that we can continue.
Hello?
We can hear you,
Okay.
Harry. Don't worry.
Can
Bwana Milken,
hear me?
I wanted you specifically for that.
When
So that you
is
can
reading
come
question?
and possibly educate us on some of these issues that are happening. But it's a valid concern, from my opinion, though. Okay, I hear you. But sir, of course, there's no power. I mean, we can even get your voice, Bwana Milken, so it's okay. You can just join, and we'll be able to hear you from here.
I think Wenson.
Okay, so.
Mr. Mavoro, sir, can you hear us?
Okay.
The same thing has happened to him again.
Yeah, he is not able to get us.
Okay.
Wendy, are you able to hear us?
But Kuda, I'm also here, Kuda. I'm also here.
He can hear the other people.
I'm just waiting for
us,
my guests to be able to reconnect once again. I know that I'm having a little bit of a challenge on my end. I don't know what I need to do to be able to fix this.
David, I said, let's just get him a very good bundle, not those social bundles. So he probably got like a social bundle.
You know, this neighbor misbehaves at the wrongest of time.
Trust me, he did
Okay.
this Masoche, what?
Is that what he did? He did one of those Masoche thing. Eh?
Today I'm suffering today.
But okay, Harry.
Yes.
I think it's
I've got enough network that doesn't want to cooperate with me.
It's an issue of manpower. He says the quality of a referee is down to manpower, because you find, like you've mentioned, a referee needs a certain amount of money to spend his whole day at a venue. All right. Secondly, there's an option of if Lusaka had more venues, okay, then there would be more referees, but you don't have the manpower. But at the end of the day, we are running away from the quality question. It's the quality of referees is what we are trying to get at. Not the venues, not the number of officials. Even if we have few officials, What we want is quality referees and how to hold them accountable.
Exactly.
If
I
they've got
totally
their
agree
own,
with you.
yeah, if they've got their own body that we have to always go to, we need to be given a guideline and say, okay, gentlemen, these are our referees. These are the guys that will help you. You can hold them accountable in this manner. We go that way. But if we throw them the hand, we can't do much. This falls back to the earlier question. Was it Kudo asked me about a referee getting into it with a fan? Okay, I can't do anything to the referee. As the GS, my association can't do anything. All we do is send, if we think the referee is at fault, all we do is say, hey, your referee was at fault, he did this, or your referee came drunk, he did this. We don't want him again, or we don't want. It's up to them to, to punish him. We can't do much. Whether we go to our league and competition rules, nothing will support us going there, especially if they're on their own. So we need to sit down and put it in black and white and say, this is the line that the referees can cross. If they cross this line, they'll be handled by the association in such and such a manner. I think that is what we're supposed to be looking at. This thing of venues and what, those are your issues.
Totally agree
That's
with
right.
you, Molo. I totally agree with you, Molo. And like I said earlier, the
Okay, gentlemen,
structures.
can you hear me now? I seem to have a little bit of stable connection.
Yes, we
Or
can.
you finally bought the bundles?
I sent him something. I hope it works out. I sent him like 100 GB.
Lubose, I can see you. Molo, I can see you.
Ah, see? You can see.
Can you hear us?
Earth to Mars. Wendy, can you hear us?
I think since bundles are not working, it's better you just send me money so that. Exactly. But anyway, making use of the stable connection that we have, I think there's a response here where Milken is talking about the question that Harry was talking about, the issue of the B League and everything, and Milken is again alluding to the issue of lack of manpower from officials, and he's saying it's either we cut a number from the number of teams to make it more competitive, or more teams, more officials, and more venues. But whose responsibility is all this, Lubosi? Whose responsibility is all this? Isn't it your job, you guys, Mulo, everybody else here? Isn't it your job to be able to come up with more officials, come up with the money to pay the officials themselves? Isn't it your job?
Okay, so you can hear me, Wendy, first of all, yeah?
I hope he can.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so you see, the way Milken has placed it is the struggle that we have. Okay, it's the struggle that we have. Now, the problem we have is that our leagues have no sponsors. Okay, so meaning that we need to generate income from within the association itself until we get to that particular stage. Okay, now the problem we also have there is that because we have no sponsors, the way we can get the money are some of these issues, the affiliates themselves, from the gate takings themselves. But when you look at those gate takings and from the affiliates themselves, okay, the other time we try to increase the fees so that we can match up to, for example, venue prices. Nasdaq is not cheap. Some show was not cheap, even though it looks cheap, but it is not cheap. OIDC, because of the prices, we don't even go there anymore. Okay. Referees, to get more officials, we are not allowed to even train our own referees. ZBF has banned us. They said that's their duty, that's their job. So we can't even bring in more officials. Even if we wanted to, we can ask for more officials. But then the quality that comes in is that we can't compromise on quality. They'll tell, some of the suggestions have been, okay, let's try get some people from who ref from YBL, bring them over, train some people here and there. But then that is like a fast track course, and it will not work. Okay, we don't have the funds. We are slowly working towards that. I think I did mention the last time that I think the key for us has always been getting registered so that we are able to show potential sponsors who we are, our framework, our legal framework, how to hold us accountable, and so forth. We're still waiting for that one letter that I spoke about that other time from the mother body. And without that, we still can't do that. So in essence, now we were forced to say, okay, if we have so many teams for League B, then we have a situation of where the season ends and we still have League B playing, which was last season. That's what happened last season. If we have only two teams, there'll be competition, but then you have other teams who are saying we also want to play. The suggestion is you create a league, a C league, with what we don't have the officials or the venues. So I also get what Harry was saying, which is good. We need to have more games. Unfortunately, it's a domino effect. We can't have more games because we don't have too many officials. Okay, we can't have more games because we don't have the resources to pay for the venues and the officials that come in as well. Um, we are still working around that particular aspect, and that's how we ended up with this particular setup of this league. We did in such a way that we would get to the stage where they all finish quickly. We're able to tell ZBF to say, we are done. Can you bring the national championships early as well? So we don't have this gap where the games are finished and they keep playing. But as Harry has stated, yes, there were stoppages. There were teams writing, requiring for postponements for various reasons. And yes, to something that we need to own up to, some of this postponement ought not to have even occurred. But we opted to try to be fair to everyone who asked for a postponement. But this is something that we now deal with in the sense that you have the female league, which is pretty much done with one or two postponed games. You have the B league, which is done, but you have the Super League for men, which is still going and hopefully done by this weekend, but due to those postponements. So there were calculated moves, but unfortunately, due to the stoppages, we did not reconcile that properly. Something that we are working on and we'll deal with as well. But it all starts with resources. We need to have that.
Watson, can I come in?
Okay, so before I let you go, there's just before you come in, just hold that thought for me, please. I want Lugosi to deal with this question from Conrad, Chairman MBA. Now that the league is coming to a close, and since you didn't give us your plan for the year, you would not call it a success, okay? Since you didn't give the affiliates a plan for the year, Conrad is of the view you shouldn't call it a success. We had asked you to give us a roadmap, 0. So your score is 0. The league was on autopilot. Next season, give us a roadmap. Your KPIs down to the last person in your executive. Your brief response to that, Lewis.
I think basically, whenever someone says your league was not a success, you really look at what has happened in the league. I think the facts speak for themselves. Having a roadmap, I think, just to highlight, or rather briefly to Conrad, is that we said our roadmap starts with the registration of MBA at the societies, okay? Because that was the first issue. Now, if we are carteled on that first issue, everything else becomes a bit of a problem, okay? I am not going to lay blame on the mother body, which we are not to do, but these things do happen. What I can say is that the fact that we are here now shows that the league has actually occurred. It can't be autopilot when there has been issues happening during the league and the respective departments responding to particular issues. I think one can say there was no roadmap to see where we need to get to, agreed. But to say there is no success, I think that one is just a bit unreasonable, if you ask me. The league for us, as far as we're concerned, is a success. So because we are here, teams are here, teams are participated. The league has been competitive. There is footage of things happening. Okay, we've had, like I was explaining earlier on, we've had improvements in teams. Okay, we've seen teams step up on their game. We've seen referees step up on their game. Aside from those few bad apples here and there or incidents here and there. We've seen the improvement of the ladies team. We've had tussles in terms of streaming, which improved, and we had to double back. But in the end, everything has been a step forward. So I think if you're measuring success by me not giving a document of how A, B, C, D is going to be, as opposed to facts of what you see yourself, I don't think that is even a fair assumption, as placed with all due respect to Conrad. But that is not a measure of success. I will stand by the fact that we're here, the fact that we've seen what the clubs have done, what the coaches have done, what the referees have also improved on, what the benches have also improved on.
Okay.
That is our measure of success. But I will concede and say, yes, we definitely intend to have a roadmap, and we have it. We have everything in place, and it will be delivered to the affiliates. But by our standards, it was a success. Thank you.
So, Weston, can I come in?
I love the fact that you've spoken like a lawyer and said, by our standards. It was a success. Okay, so Mulo, yes, Mulo, I'm coming to you. So as you come in with that thought, there's a question on the screen for you that you also need to address. And ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, my very good friend, I can see he's not wearing a uniform, so I'm not afraid that he can arrest me now. He's not wearing a uniform. Milken Muzongwe is here with us, and he'll be speaking to some of these questions that you have. So, Mulo, over to you. This person wants you to talk about the Taonga saga. Why wasn't he playing? Why was he playing when he wasn't cleared by NBA? So, Milken, I think you'll speak to this as well. But first, Mulo, over to you. Your thoughts on this question?
I'll get to the Taonga issue just at the end of this. The one I think of one of the things or the purpose of this conversations we're having is, I think, maybe to have answers more than questions. Okay, we are now 4 people here, 4 heads. I'm still not comfortable on the issue of the referees. Luhosi, unfortunately, has thrown ZBF under the bus because ZBF is the one preventing us from holding the referees accountable. Also, for us, helping them to get more referees. Okay. When it comes to the issue of money, like Harry had mentioned, I will pay for quality. I will not pay for non-quality, if there's such a word. If you tell me, example, the guys that came to officiate the under 18 games, say those guys were here in Zambia. I think minus the last game where we saw some dodgy calls here and there. Harry and I were seated in the same place, where we saw some dodgy calls here and there. I think even Milken saw those. How do we compare those to our referees? That's what we should ask ourselves. The money they were paid, are we able to pay those referees? If push came to shove, would the affiliates raise that money and get those people paid? Why are they better? If they are better, why are they better at refereeing than our refs? These are some of the things that we need to look at. We need to have answers to. We'll be going into another season. Harry has mentioned, we go abroad. Milk and Harry, the three of us have witnessed this. Home and away, we've seen other referees officiating games. We've seen the quality. We've seen before the game referees stretching, warming up, doing this, doing that. What have we seen our referees doing before a game? Exactly. So let's look at the standard of referees. How do we improve them? We train them, then what? They don't improve. How do we hold them accountable? This is something that we need to sort out. Who put ZBF into power? It is us, the affiliates. We go to the AGM. We put you and who there as a person. They're elected, so we've got the right to put them to the sword. Let's push them against the wall and say, we are not happy with this. Can we have this? Give us this power. Because we'll be going round in circles. Luosi, like you've mentioned, the first thing you need to do, we need to do, other associations need to do is, let's get Society of Registrars,
What
number one.
is
Okay?
being
So
said?
that, number one, so that we get the sponsors who ask these questions. Let's get that done. Okay? Already it's showing a structure. If you bring the referees, I'm not seeing a structure. How? What? When I look at the Zambian referee, do they inspire me? I used to play basketball, stop playing basketball. Are they going to inspire me to be a referee? I got inspired to be a referee through Matiliso and Ron. Okay? Because I saw something in them. How many of us would look at a referee and get inspired? These are questions that we need to put before the coming season. So that I don't talk too much. The question about Taonga. I will not go into details, but I will say this. When you put a wedding ring on your girlfriend without paying lobola, is she your wife? Wetson, back to you.
No, Molo, you can't respond in that way. You are the general secretary of CBA. Can you give us the facts
Harry,
and details on the Taonga saga? That
Harry,
ring on the
it's not
girlfriend
a
to be the
saga.
wife without
It is not.
lobola.
It is not a saga. It is not a saga. It is unfortunate because we don't have structures. We are unable to give information about transfers. You call it a saga because you'll be sitting in a corner and each one of you will come up with your conspiracy theories. The way that question has come is good because they've asked somebody who's in charge of transfers. Okay? It is not a
Yes.
saga. Unfortunately, Taonga could not be cleared to play on the CBA because there were certain things that were missing on his transfer forms. A certain procedure was missed. So when he came over, we allowed him to play. After verifying documentation with MBA, we realized that, whoa, hold on. This is missing. Unless this is done, that is when this person can be cleared. And that was not done. And that's how he was returned back to MBA. So there is no saga there. The saga is you who create the saga.
After he played the season on the CBA, the season had come to an end, then he comes back to NBA to play the season.
Yes.
Okay, can I comment on this Taonga issue in a progressive way?
Mm-hmm.
I have been preaching about transfers, okay? And I'm happy that Muken is here and Lugosi is here also. I have been saying this. We cannot decentralize transfers. We'll be having such problems because now we are pointing fingers. CBA is pointing fingers at NBA. NBA is saying, no, it's CBA who was in the wrong. At the end of it all, we are all in the wrong. NBA cannot run transfers, as well as CBA cannot run transfers in a well-structured way. The mother body, ZBF, are the ones responsible for the licensing of players. And they are the ones who are supposed to be responsible for any transfers in this country and outside this country. This issue of NBA handling transfers, Eastern Province handling their own transfers, CBA handling their own transfers, is what has brought us to this issue of Taonga. I've been preaching about this. If you look at FAS, transfers are done at the central place. Anywhere in the world of sport, we cannot decentralize transfers. That's my comment on that.
When the permission to come in? Good. When there's
Okay,
got some delay, so
so
I might as well come in. Harry, in a
okay,
well-oiled machine,
but
in the
there's an
right
interesting
scenario,
comment though. Milken, I don't know, did you get a chance, Milken, to speak on this? Because I believe MBA was also mentioned with regards to the Taonga issue. Did you have a chance, Milken, to speak to it?
we'll bring Milken in. Harry, in a well-oiled machine, hear me, in a well-oiled machine, what you said is
Yes.
right. Okay? What you said is right.
Are you able to get me?
Yes, yes,
Are you
I
able to
can hear
get
you.
me? No, okay, great. It's unfortunate that there are certain topics that are brought forward that I know we're discussing about basketball, we're discussing about the season, we're discussing about what happened, how successful the seasons were, but the Taonga issue, in an honest opinion, I think it's something which is sort of like club and a proper understanding and like as much it's social media, yes, it can be discussed social media, but then I think it's sort of like an exposed kind of arrangement to really discuss it here. MBA has got a way in which transfers are done. Of course, these are local transfers. So when it comes to something to do with playing for another provincial basketball association, of course, there's supposed to be some correspondency. Like Mulo said earlier on, to say that as they were trying to ensure that the transfer is done, there are some certain documents that missed out. Hence, they decided to put a hold. And as far as MBA is concerned, Taonga belongs to MBA and he's under MBA and was registered under MBA. That's what I can say. I don't want to say much about it, but then in terms of like his eligibility, he's eligible to play for Material Warriors and under MBA because he did not transfer back to the other side due to the lack of a full detailed documentation that was supposed to be put in place for the transfer to be complete. Then what Harry is saying, yes, I agree. It's supposed to be at federation level, but it's unfortunate that the basketball community, each and every time that we happen to have situations, we want to be professional on other matters and we want to be amateur on other matters, which is not fair. We really not going anywhere because let's ask each other and let's look at a point. What is it that we are? Are we amateur? Are we professional? There are other matters that we are going to just open a Pandora box here that we will say that this thing has been waived off. If an international transfer can be waived off, what of a local transfer? You understand? So there's a lot that we really have to sit down as basketball people, put things in place and understand to say, this is going to be professional, this is going to be amateur. Hence, going forward, if we are saying federation should sanction like it is in football. Football is different. In football, when you go to FAS, each and every transfer has to pass through FAS because they are the mother body, not into the small children that feed from FAS, which are PBS in this case. Going forward, as we sit for these meetings, I suggest that we strictly look and propose for one cause to say if transfers are going to be held by federation, let them be held by federation if you are moving from a provincial basketball association to another provincial basketball association. Other than that, it's going to be the same story over and over and over. That's what I can say
So,
for now.
but Milken, I agree with you partly. And maybe partly I'd like to get something straightened out. When you say we are an amateur league, I feel like for a long time we've used this statement as a scapegoat. First and foremost, who stops us from being professional? Secondly, just because we're amateur, does it mean we cannot do things professionally or like a professional league? If we can, why aren't we doing it?
Exactly my point, Winston. If you heard me very well in my preambles, I said there are certain matters that we want to professionalize, while other matters we want to say they are amateur. It's high time that we should run away from this concept of selecting certain matters to be amateur and certain matters to be professional. I personally, myself, I tell you to say that regardless of these positions that I have in the association, me, I have got every documentation for each and every player that I have used internationally. And I've got each and every receipt from FIBA, which I can prove for any player that has played for my club. I have. You understand? The more reason why I'm saying that there are certain things that we consider to be amateur, others we consider them to be professional. But then let's stick to one thing. If we agree to say that we are going to be very much professional on this matter, and the matter is going to be held by federation, they are the ones that are going to sanction these transfers. Then we are going in the right state, then we have decided. So let's decide. Not each and every time we've got different types of excuses. Otherwise, we are not going to progress.
Can I come in, Sir Winston?
Please go ahead, sir.
Yes. So, in addition to what Muken is saying, yes, I also agree with Winston. We use the word amateur to get away with a lot of things. But moving forward, and I've always said this also, that systems do not
Really?
know if it's amateur or if it's a professional league. Here we are talking about systems. I think there was a time we're developing something, a document, and I posed the question to say, because we are called an amateur, what if tomorrow we find a sponsor? Do we come back again, sit down, spend time and resources to redo the documents because now monies have come in? Should sponsorship be the driving force or detect how we operate? For me, I think it shouldn't. Systems are there to help run affairs in a very smooth way where all parties are treated the same. Like it is right now on the Taonga issue. These associations are pointing fingers at each other. CBA is saying they did everything right. NBA is saying they did everything right. It's a learning phase. It's a learning process for us. But the question also is, for how long are we going to be on this road? Can we have the systems in place? Can we follow the common standards that are being practiced worldwide? To be honest with you, I've never seen in any sports discipline where transfers are handled in this manner. And I'm not in support. And I've been advocating for this to say the mother body, who are the licensing office of the players, are the ones who are supposed to be responsible for the transfers. Can we follow that system? Whether it's at a minimal fee, it does not matter. The system is there to guide us. And all these that we are talking, it's the same thing about the referees. Also, that side, it's about the systems. Can we have the systems in place? But you find that CBA are running it differently, NBA are running it differently. The mother body is toothless to control all these things. And that is the reason why we're in this position. That's my comment, sir.
Wendy, permission to come in?
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Milken and Harry, you're very right, huh? This professionalism stuff, this so-called amateur stuff. The reason we cannot be professional is that from inception, a lot of things are non-professional. Examples. The coaching certificate you have done by FIBA is international. Yet, we're running a league where we've got coaches who don't have that. Goes back to amateur. Go to the NBA, go to Euro basketball, go where? Do they have coaches who are not not qualified? No. Amateur, professional. That's that aside. ZBF itself, for us to be affiliated to it, should have made sure every club is registered in the right manner for us to be the affiliate. Are we? We are not. So when you now start talking about transfers, even when ZBF now come and says, Kaonga has moved from Tigers to Suns. Tigers and Suns are not even known internationally. Because why? They are not registered clubs. Why? Unprofessional. So you talk about systems. We do not put systems because, one, the systems require finance. We do not have the finance. How many clubs, including your club, Harry, including your club, Milken, Luosi, your affiliated club, how many of these clubs are registered correctly? How many of these clubs are run professionally? Harry is the coach, Harry is the treasurer, Harry is the chairperson, Harry is the medical, Harry is the therapist, Harry is the non-professional. We've got a long way to go. So yes, Harry,
so
when
Mulo,
money comes in, when money comes in, then we can put a lot of these things in place.
Mulo,
yes, Wendy.
I agree with you that there's a whole lot of unprofessionalism happening. But the question I'm going to ask you, not as a GS, but as the coach of a club, and I believe proprietor to some extent, what are you doing to professionalize your club? Because I have seen in certain cases and instances where clubs didn't have to wait for the league or the federation to become professional. Clubs themselves introduced structures, changed the way they operated, employed or maybe brought in coaches that are willing to come and, volunteer, give their time, train the coaches that are qualified. So why aren't you clubs also starting at that level? Should we wait for CBA? Should we wait for what's this again? ZBF?
Now, that comes with one, money. Yeah, like you told me, not as a GS, as a club owner.
Yes.
Links gave birth by me. All right. I joined it with Tigers when I started coaching Tigers, when they let me in their family. We now call it LIT. We've put it together. The two of them come up with a LIT family. What are we doing to get to a status of professionalism? We have all agreed we will treat the club as a business. We will put up things that will help generate income so that now we can say we can have a coach, we can pay. We can have players, we can pay. We can have trainers, we can pay. We can have first aid, we can pay. We can have players we can send to school. This is where we are. This is what we are working towards. Okay? But the bottom line is, even if I have a plan, even if other people have got a plan, money is the thing that will make any of these things happen. If I could tell you right now, there are certain decisions I can make and there are certain decisions I can't make, even though you would say, no, Mulo, Links is yours, Tigers is yours. I can't. I have to consult. The only decision I've got autonomy of is the coaching. Anything in the background has to go through certain people. because we have decided, guys, to get to this point, we need to do this. People look at Suns, people look at Magic, and they'll say, look at the way these guys are advertising. Look at the way Magic is out there getting sponsors here and there. Look at the way Phoenix is getting sponsors. Look at their board. They've got all these sponsors on. Why aren't others doing that? It's the people that you have surrounding you and the vision these people have. So at the end of the day, Winston, I can have a vision, but my vision will need at one point to be financed. Where are we going to get that finance if we do not put things in place? I go approach somebody to finance the team. They say, what league are you playing in? Oh, it's a ZBF league. Yeah, it's code this and this. They look it up, they can't find it. Then what? They come to watch. They find referees and fans fighting. 2 minutes later, there's nothing happening. What are they going to do? They won't help. They'll walk back and say, put your house in order, then we can help you. Yes, Wendy.
So, Molo, you haven't.
Yes.
I want you to respond to this question. All those things that you've explained.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they hinder us from having a system?
The finance? No, they don't. But to implement the system, it's the money that hinders us. Come up with your plan, come up with your system. At one point, it will need to be financed. And that is what we don't have. Now, to get that, like Luwosi has even mentioned, gentlemen, let's get registered. From there, from registration, let's move to this level. Let's move to this level. We are not all together on that same page. That is where the problem is. Luwosi is alone thinking like this. You are alone thinking like this. I'm alone thinking like this. Milken is alone thinking like this. But if we put our heads together and say, guys, as a common goal, let's do this. As friends, let's do this. There are certain teams, because as friends, would do it. But as a unit, ZBF has given us guidelines. We've got a constitution. How many of those things in the constitution have we followed? But because of this non-professional and professional thing, we are doing some and not doing the others.
So, okay, gentlemen, I think I think this is an interesting aspect, and dynamic to our conversation. I know that some of us agree and disagree whether money should lead us to professionalize, or we can start the process before the money comes. I mean, it's up to what you think at the end of the day. But quickly, Mulo, yes or no? Have you had stats in your season? I mean, in your league this season? I'm asking you now as GS. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Hold that thought. Luwosi.
Okay.
We've not had stats in the NBA this season. I would like you to explain to the people why. Because any credible league just needs to have statistics. Because at the end of the day, what Mulo is talking about, if people look up MBA, CBA, there are so many things that can come up online, depending on the number of programs that you do, depending on the branding that you show out there. So assuming CBA and MBA had stats, by the time we're concluding, we could know who the leading rebounder was. We could award the leading scorer. We could come up with a league MVP. We could come up with all these, individual awards that at the end of the day can be used as marketing tools for the league to be able to go out there to get the message across. So Luwosi, first of all, I'll start with you. As Mulo is holding his head and thinking, why didn't we have stats, sir? And why would you allow a league to start where there are no stats?
Thanks a lot, Wendy.
Can I get that one, Chair?
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah, because I'm the one who's technical coordinator, so I would rather answer this one. Sorry, Winston.
Are you? Let's get it clear, Milken. Are you the technical coordinator or the acting technical coordinator?
I am the technical coordinator. Hence, that's the
Okay.
reason why I decided to pick up the question. But then, if you really want Chair to answer, he's still going to answer because it's we've had stats before, yes, but in this particular season we did not have the stats. The reason is just that simple. The people that we engaged that do stats, of course, they did a quotation and they gave us what is supposed to be given to them. Hence, we did not really engage the stakeholders and tell them to say, with this package, we need a certain amount. But then, Chair and the whole entire team, they were actually looking for a person who was going to sponsor this particular program and for it to actually commence and take place. I'm sure the chair can say much with the people that he had contacted, the people that said that they were going to sponsor this particular program. However, the people that are doing stats or that were supposed to do stats were already engaged and they are there. So the only challenge which was there was like to find a particular sponsor to sponsor the stats, or either we were supposed to do an increment to teams for the stats to be available.
Okay. So maybe there's a part where I didn't get you right, Milken. If I remember last time I checked, Gibson was the technical coordinator. When he resigned, did you become the technical coordinator and left your previous portfolio? What exactly happened there? In case I missed that part, I just wanted to be clear.
No, okay, when Gibson left that particular position, I stepped in as in the acting technical coordinator, rather, maybe would be the right. Okay, to be the right position to mention. I am the competition secretary, but then at the end of the day, again, I do the technical work. Instead of leaving like
Milken,
that,
just say yeah,
I
acting
chip
technical
in to
director.
ensure that I
Son.
do all the technical work.
Okay. Okay. So Harry,
Yes,
you
sir.
served in the committee before, okay? You tell me. And I want everybody to get this very clear. I'm not in any way undermining what Milken has been doing so far, which is great. We appreciate your sacrifice, doubling jobs, doing your competition secretary at the same time, technical coordinator. But Harry, you tell me, what is the disadvantage of not having a technical coordinator whose purpose and sole function is to coordinate the technical aspect of the basketball season?
Okay, so all positions are very important in the association. From chair, the structure is very important, but the technical coordinator is the one that runs the league. So the disadvantage of not having a technical coordinator is as good as saying the league is running on autopilot. And to respond to Milken, what was supposed to be done by NBA when Gibson had resigned, because that is an elective position. So NBA was supposed to run elections for that position. Milken would have acted in that position, but he cannot act for eternity or for the period of the tenure of the office. I think it should be within 90 days or so. They were supposed to actually do elections for that position. So the disadvantage really, and I keep saying this even at national level, to say the absence of not having really technical guys in those positions are the reason for certain things in basketball. Milken has been doing a very great job with him being secretary, fixture secretary. Also, him being technical coordinator, I think that is just too much on his plate, provided that this is voluntary work and he has other duties of his personal nature to handle. So really, this position was supposed to be advertised, and someone was supposed to be elected in that position.
Okay, you've said something very interesting, Harry, that tickles me, and I've heard this a lot from people. We are doing this work for free. I don't get paid. Well, the question I have for you is, who asked you? Did we plead for you to do the job? You know, because and you know, trust me, I've heard this even from people in the federation say it's for free, I don't get paid. Who stops anybody from creating a structure that would allow you to get paid? Who's supposed to pay you? Should we accept mediocrity because it's voluntary, yet somebody elected you, you solicited for a vote? So I think to the people watching this in the federation, everywhere, in basketball teams, if your language is, I don't get paid to work for Monali Suns, resign. Let's bring people who can think of how to get paid, love the job, and stay there if they want to commit. So I think I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I hear it a lot, you know, and I keep asking myself, Mulo, we voted for you, Mulo. You can't be telling us that no, sir. It doesn't work like that. Anyway, that's my opinion. Don't worry, these are my people. Bwana Lubosi, I had a privilege and an opportunity over the weekend to watch a game between Cabo Legends and Lilanda Hits, a game that was, you know, I'll use your word, sir, by my standards, okay, at B-League level, okay, I'm borrowing your words now. By my standards, it was okay, you know, for B-League basketball. It was good competition. But when I compare that basketball versus what they are bringing or what they're going to find in the A-League, I feel there's a whole lot that needs to be done. Therefore, the question I have is, would we be open to, say, creating a system where a team that qualifies from the B-League, and this applies to you, Mulo, you also share your thoughts on this, to creating a system where we have playoffs. For example, a team finishes the B-League, they play the bottom team that is coming out. The two battle it out, and whoever wins finally makes it to the A-League and convinces everybody beyond reasonable doubt to say, look, I beat everybody in the B-League, I'm capable of beating whoever is in the A-League, so I belong in this type of competition. Is this something that you're open to, Lubosi?
Thanks, Wendy. You know, we've had a lot of discussions about how teams ascend to the Super League. Obviously, custom and traditions over the years has been that teams must be rewarded for having come top of the B League and then ascend to the Super League. That way they feel like they've achieved something, and truly they have achieved something to be on top of the B League. But your question has also been tabled with a lot of my team as well, in the sense that while we appreciate the work that teams in B League do to get to top two and also ascending to the Super League, are they ready to actually face the Magics, the Monali Suns, the Buffaloes, you know, the physical Buffaloes? You know, are they technical enough? And sometimes we feel, no, they're not. But sometimes teams actually do well. An example would be the Kings. The Kings are doing very well, you know, but obviously we've had also bad examples where teams have ascended and they have not done well. I think it's something that we will take to the table as we go through the off season. I don't want to comment on the technicalities of how we'll go forward, but I will confirm that that has actually been a going concern to ensure that teams are ready, but also a way of strengthening the B League as well. Obviously, Harry has spoken about it in terms of having more games. But you see, even having more games will not help if the technical aspect of the clubs themselves are not doing the right thing, which comes down to what Mulo is saying. Are the coaches certified, to coach? Do they know the techniques for coaching? The referees. The referees in the B League, for example, rumor has it that let teams get away with certain things, walks to fouls, reaching here and there. You come to the Super League, you find that there are refs who are more technical. They will call just by putting a hand on someone's waist. Okay, and that's not what B League is about. B League is Nikubantam. It's hard. So there are a lot of things that we need to improve on to strengthen the B League. But among other things, one of the suggestions is that the top two teams have a playoff with the bottom two teams in the Super League and see who comes out. But obviously, you need to also gauge it to the fairness principle to say if someone has actually worked so hard to get there, they need to have their shot. Maybe they'll improve during the season. Teams start very badly sometimes, but they pick up halfway. So those are all considerations we'll need to do. So without giving you a definite position, I'll just confirm to say yes, we have thought about it, and it's something that we're looking to deal with at least as we're moving forward.
Okay. Mulo, we would like to hear from you when it comes to that particular line of thinking, the issue of playoffs. And Nikki has got a question for you. Any hopes of getting more teams on the Copper Belt during the Nationals? So I'd like to get your thoughts on that, plus what Nikki is asking as well.
I'll go with Nikki first because it's short. Unfortunately, Nikki, no. You're likely only going to see 3 teams, I hope. 3 teams you're going to see. That should be Boosters, Slam Dunk, and Lynx. So unfortunately, those are the only 3 teams that you're going to have in the national championships. Going to the B League, I would leave the B League as it is. You come out from the A League, you drop, go down, rebuild. Let the guys have their shot. There is no need for a playoffs. Look at what happens when teams come to the A League. Transfers are made. Sometimes they get better players to help them through. Okay? If you'll be saying that for you to come there, you have to play the guy who came out last. He came out last. He can't compete. Even next season, he's going to come out last. So just because he can beat you, it means you won't perform. No. Come up. You're going to grow into the game and you might end up somewhere. So I personally would be against it. Others may not, but I would personally be against a playoff from the B League to the A League. I would be against that.
Okay, interesting. So, Harry's screen is black. What's happening? Harry. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, what are your thoughts about this? I like your explanation, Mulo, but I think in Lusaka, the scenario that we've had more often is a team that gets relegated, goes to dominate, and again wins and comes back. And then a team that gets to win. We had teams before they improved, got a hang of 1, 2, 3 things. They would lose entirely almost all the games and get right back into the B League. So probably in this part, that is where that rationale was coming from. But we hear you. But Harry, what are your thoughts before I get to Milken on the issue of playoffs? Should we have playoffs to be able to allow the teams to battle it out, to stay in the Premier League?
My thoughts are that, there's no 2 ways about relegation and promotion. You are promoted in the league that you are playing. So for you to have playoffs with the teams that are being relegated, I think that system is not good enough. Hence my answer being we should not have playoffs. The teams that are relegated from the Super League Let them go in the Bantam League, prove themselves and come back. And if the teams that are promoted from the B League, let them come up and prove themselves are worthy to stay in the Super League.
Okay. Okay, so David is saying, is there an age limit in the B League and YBL? This is something that needs to be looked at. Otherwise, next year, I am playing Komagic B. I need to develop. This elite player wants to go back in the B League now. But anyway, Milken, let me. David is trying to be funny here, but I get the line of thinking. Okay, so Milken, the concern maybe to speak to David's question has been, I'll give a practical example. Okay, I was part of the under-18 team, okay, that traveled to South Africa, which Coach Harry was the first assistant for, headed by Coach Paul Mwale. We had players like, Masaninga. Is it Masaninga? Brilliant young man, looks to be on the right path where basketball is concerned, We had George, who surprised me, I'll be very honest with you, when we went to South Africa. When I looked at his courage, his play, almost dunked on Team Uganda, by the way, for those that never watched the game, okay? You've got all these players that are capable of playing basketball in the B League. They even went in the national team. When you look at some of the players who are George's age, from South Africa, from Uganda, from wherever, they are playing in developmental leagues. Others have actually been taken on by clubs in the Premier League as they are young prodigies that they're preparing to join the rank and file of those respective teams. So, when I'm Milken, I would like to get your thoughts. You run Dolphins, you've done an amazing job at Dolphins, by the way. You've done an amazing job. There, sir, I have to give you if I was Mr. Kainde Hichilema right now, I would have made your shoulder more heavier looking at the work that you've done at Dolphins. It's impressive, it's marvelous, it's amazing. Okay? But do you think that we should have an age limit? Because like David Mzonda is saying, there are players that if you look at them, they have white hair like Coach Harry, but they're in the B League. What are they doing there? They are good players, they are good prodigies that are still in the YBL, the Masaningas, the Georges, and all these other kids that can even compete in the Super League. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, the YBL is categorized. There's a difference between the feminine side and the masculine side. On the masculine side, we have age category. Under 10, under 12s, 14, 16s, and the under 18. The more reason that why you were able to even crop a number of players to fit into the U18 men's side or masculine side. For the ladies, it's quite a little bit open. There's no really age restriction from the YBL side. But for the guys, like I said in my preambles, to say that there is, yes, an age restriction. Now, coming to David's question, he talked about a B League. B League, unfortunately, there's no age limit. We did not put any age. The more reason why you could see Kings coming with a full packaged team, one season in B League, there they are, they're in the top flight. Matero Warriors, you saw them one season in B League because we could see the likes of Tito playing B League, Mumba, all those people, you could see them playing B League. So for B League, there is no age. But for YBL, there are age categories. But for the feminine side, at least for them, because we give them that opportunity and chance to improve even from the YBL side, then later they graduate. That's how it is from that side. The last thing that I want to talk about is the question that you had posed to say, if a team is dropping from the Super League and the team that is graduating from B League to Super League, are they supposed to play some playoffs? In football, of course, yes, they do. But like Mulo said, each and every team, whenever they graduate, they'll always look at the window being open and who is it that they're bringing to spice up their team for them to have that stay in the Super League. So somehow it would be unfair because other teams immediately when they graduate, that's the time that they look for players. But then when you just play with them just like that, the Super League team guys will always have an advantage over the B League team.
So if we allowed them to beef up Milken, would you still agree to a playoff?
If the window is open and they are allowed to beef up to see what they are going to line up, I would allow it to say, okay, let's see how the competition is going to be like. But again, the pressure which is there is like, if the window is open, maybe I may transfer even twice. I may be bought and be used for that particular time for me to just stay. That's the only danger in it.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir.
I want to be clear. The playoffs are between which teams? The teams that are being relegated in the Super League against the teams that are being promoted from the B League?
Yes.
Unfortunately, there is no such system anywhere. Even in football, the playoffs are in your tier. Once you're relegated for that particular season. You cannot be promoted again in the same season. So there can only be promotion and relegation.
Relegation.
You cannot relegate teams from the Super League, then subject the teams that are being promoted from B League to play the teams that are being relegated. There's no such system anywhere in the world. Even in football, once you're relegated, you are relegated. The playoffs are in the same division that you are playing in.
Yeah, Winston, basically what Harry or Coach Harry is the previous season, this particular season, where you have to put teams in pools, or rather conferences, or rather zones, such kind of arrangement. Like in football, the way it is, they have categorized them. Then they'll get maybe top 4 this side, top 4 this side, top 4 this side. Then they'll fight for that elite battle to go into the Super League. Hence, you saw the answer that I had put across when I talked about the B League, when Coach Harry was saying there are a few games to split them so that they compete against each other and we get the cream from that particular pool and play against the other cream from the other pool to get that intensity and that kind of basketball that we watched the previous weekend. However, of course, people would always want to play in the Super League. Hence, the people that you're going to find in the B League will be those that are improving, and immediately when they improve, they migrate, unfortunately.
Okay. So since we have the B League, which has no age restriction, whereby Coach Harry and Coach David Msonda can play in there, and President Lubosi, who wants to make a comeback, can maybe start there as he wants to help Kings in the national championships with his defense.
Watson, just there, hold on. You're misleading people. Hold on.
I've got a question, Molo, first. I've got a question.
Okay. All right.
Can we create a say, a third tier, which we solely leave for development. And when I say development, we really make it a developmental league. So if people graduate from the YBL, they go into this developmental league where we put age restrictions and everything. These, by the way, I think Coach Harry will tell you, one of the things that we got when we were in South Africa with the under 18 is that FIBA was encouraging countries to be able to come up with a database of 50 best players. And when they say 50 best players, these are young players that you can choose from, develop, that will give you 10, 15 years along the line. And then we have the B League now, where it's strictly competition, where it doesn't matter your age, you are fighting to get into the Premier League. I know the answer Milken will give and Lubos is that we don't have money. But how can we do this? Gentlemen.
Okay, can I come in?
Before Mulo, let me start with you, Mulo.
What's this guy's name? Martin has highlighted something. If you can read that comment that's on the screen. Unfortunately, we have responded to this question of the B League when it comes to age and things like that against the proposed constitution. In the proposed constitution, our league and competition rules, there is an age limit. There is a number of old men who can play in the B League. That is there. We have, some will say we have not endorsed it, some will say it has been endorsed, but it is there, gentlemen. Let us not mislead those that are listening to this. The age restriction is there. When we look at that document, you will find it is there. I had an issue with it at the beginning of the season. I think Milken even knows. I even consulted him on it. Okay. Moving on to your other question. The YBL is there. It's like our third tier. You guys in the Midlands have got a better YBL because there are so many YBL team. Milken has, I don't know if Suns have, Magic have, who has. There are a lot of YBL teams. We have started it this season. We have revamped it again. Okay, where we know we've got an age restriction where we're saying, okay, guys, these are under 18, these are all 16. Let the kids play on their own. Okay, already we have had robberies. You see a kid who is 16 years old, who is 15 years old, cross over Harry, break Harry's ankles. We've gotten them because they want to play in an elite level. We've seen them playing in the B League. Yet 2 weeks ago, the kid was in a YBL game. Okay, that is there already. All right. When you look at who is administering it, that is where now the questions come. For us, the structure that the people that are in charge, the coaches, the qualified coaches from the Super League and some from the B League are the ones who are looking onto who is playing, who is coaching, who is refereeing those games. And they're the ones who are looking at the development of those kids. So it is there. It is just maybe not in black and white, or like you said, we have not documented it, but it is there. So our third tier is there. We do have our Super League, we do have our B League, and we've got our YBL. It is there, but maybe not in the black and white that you want it, Wendy. But it is there.
Okay, I'm just laughing at the comment that I'm seeing here from Chama Kitwe Dallas.
Exactly. Chama. We'll meet tomorrow on the court.
You've got 50 and 50 plus year olds playing in the Kitwe Dallas. It's an interesting arrangement. But anyway, we love what the Madalas are doing, you know, the competition and everything that they're bringing. So we definitely do appreciate them. But gentlemen, obviously, I don't intend to keep you here for an overnight. It's not an overnight. It's a conversation. So obviously, we need to get to wrap up and allow you guys to rest. But one of the things that I like is what Alison posted, you know, in the comment section, where she's saying, maybe it's time we got a little bit creative. Maybe follow the model that the NBA is using by having extension or expansion programs, you know, teams. We make it mandatory, you know, for Magic to have Magic B, Suns to have Suns B, and all these things. And then is it possible, for example, this will go to Lubosi. You said, obviously, you have time to sit down and relook at certain things before you meet affiliates and chart the way forward for next year. And I think we appreciate you for that. What I want to find out is, can it work if we created a system where, for example, you have teams like Buffalo B that can't allow their B team to qualify in the Super League? I remember NAPSA equally cannot allow their B team. I think Lutas is the only team that has allowed their junior team to play in the A League. I stand to be corrected. But don't you think we should also create a rule where players, for example, Magic can get maybe 2 or 3 kids that they can register before the beginning of the season to be part of the entire roster. These kids can be called upon at any time of the season to come and join. Say Magic is playing against Green Buffaloes and they feel this is a good game for this kid. We knock off one of the guys off the list and bring in the youngster. President Lubosi, do you think this is something that, as we get creative, as we think outside the box, because we are supposed to think outside the box, by the way, do you think this is something that maybe you would discuss with the affiliates and everybody else?
You know, technically, anything can be discussed with affiliates, provided it's a very good proposal. Okay, it sounds good from my perspective. I think we're not talking about what is currently there, but we're talking about whether it's something that can be infused into the future going forward. I personally don't see a problem with that, obviously, but then we do have certain registration forms that need to happen. So if a particular individual is registered in advance, because when you look at our constitution and the league and competition rules as they are, you know that you find a few deadlocks in some of these particular aspects. For example, a player must be registered with you to begin with. The player must have played a couple of games before they can be allowed to play. For example, moving forward to championships. So there are restrictions that you need to now reconcile within our league and competition rules. But honestly, it's a situation of, if you're trying to improve the young ones, groom them, and let them have a feel or a taste of how it's like out there. For example, when it's a non-physical game. Obviously, you don't want to bring up someone and the first game they play is Buffalo for obvious reasons, you know. So it is a good proposal. It is something that we can table, but then for me, the only issue that we need to go back to the rules as well. It is something that we need to refine to see, because I know there are certain restrictions in the rules. So we're not able to merely pull from the other league and bring them up now and play, because then you're opening Pandora's box, vice versa, to say even you can go down to the B League and play there for a particular game, maybe a Kosa. they bring in somebody there, but we already know what the rules are. Again, I'll take it back to the position I told you. It's a good proposal. It's something we can table. It takes only one affiliate to say we propose this, then we have a good discussion on it. But when that decision is made, it must be made while we have comparison to the rules to see that we are not in conflict with anything that is in the Constitution. But it is something that I would like to explore. But the modalities of it's something that we need to see how it would work.
Okay. Okay, so obviously, ladies and gentlemen, as I earlier indicated, I don't want to keep you here long, but Milken, I think one of the concerns that came earlier on, I know Lubosi spoke to it, was the issue of uh, not playing too many games. Lubosi did tackle that part, unnecessary stoppages, and the issue of the venue and everything. So I would like to start with you, Milken. Maybe as we get to wrap up this season, going into the next season, are we going to see corrective measures to be able to address this? Now, President Lubosi said, obviously, uh, again, it comes down to the money. But like John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. You are the leaders. So if there's no money, it's your job to find the money for us and make sure that we pay for these things and get to run a league in the best proper way that we can. So I want to hear from you, Milken. Are we going to see a change next season when it comes to the game stoppages and increasing the number of games? Is this something that we're likely to see a change in?
Yeah, of course, increasing the number of games is not a problem. Increasing the number of games is not a problem. We're playing a 2 series, that is from the Masakulan side. So we shall increase to 3 series, which we will see us play games. And that one will come with a result of us starting on time, which is supposed to be as early as March. For as long as we start March, then we're good to go for a 3 series to have a number of games to be played. Then, secondly, coming to the venue problem, if a NASDAQ is available, which is a multi-purpose arena, and it belongs to any sports discipline that is under National Sports Council of Zambia, they've got the right to book it. It's not for basketball only, it's for any other sport. We shall try and extend our hand to OIDC if Olympic Youth Development Center is going to be that in a range of venues available, of course, it's going to have a hiccup. The more reason why you see the B League playing more games from Zamshu Arena. You know, it's quite tricky for. I know during your time, when the time that you were playing, of course, Zamshu was big. Even in my time, Zamshu was big. But I'm surprised now that Zamshu is very small and very tricky to have a game being played in there because the facility looks small. But answering you is yes, we're going to have a 3-game series. We're going to have a number of games. So we will increase on the games, yes. But on the venues, like I said, the venues, they don't really belong to the basketball family, but they belong to any other sports discipline who are affiliates to council. You would see karate in there, badminton today, table tennis today. So you will see a number of sports disciplines hiring the venue, and we have no barrier or restriction to it. Unfortunately, it's not that I can do that the basketball association can do when a different federation asks for a venue.
Okay, President Lubosi, as we get obviously, as we okay, I'll come to you, but let me first of all start with Lubosi as we get to wrap up. In Uganda, I was reliably informed that a strategic decision was made to be able to align their league with the FIBA and BAL calendar to be able to ensure that we don't have a situation where Basket Kings wins the championship and they require the services of Chongo Stizi. And once Chongo Stizi leaves Magic, Magic gets clobbered by the new Stingers, Lilanda Hits, in the local league because it is running simultaneously with the Basketball Africa League. So they made sure that the league runs and ends so that, certain issues are avoided and the team that qualifies for a bigger tournament like that gets to play in that tournament well. Is this something that we can do?
Well, it is something that we've been advocating to do, which is to align ourselves with international calendars as well. I think, as stated by Milken as well, we need to find a way to start on time, but then there's always a ripple effect. For example, our league ends this weekend. You have championships that will start most likely January, and that now takes you to, and provided there's no stoppages and everything, and this finishes in good time. We have these things that finish, then we now need to discuss about AGMs, ZB, MBA, then you have ZBA, AGMs as well, so that we get from the mother body the aspects of what they want us to do in terms of objectives, etc., etc. Now, provided every single body and entity does what it needs to do, and everything is done by February, let's say February or mid-February, and we look forward to, then what we are looking forward to is starting the league early, trying to see how to align ourselves with some of these particular issues. It is doable and desirable that we actually align ourselves with that, so that by the time a team is actually a victorious team is actually going to bow Namibia, like the league is done, they're at that level, and now they're now moving upwards. So that is something that we want to see. It helps the teams do better. Although, like I said, certain things are out of our hands. Do we want it to happen? Yes, we want to align so that we don't have issues of postponement. We have drama when we have teams haven't played, leagues extended, you go into Christmas, people want to be with their families. So it's not only with BAL, but also to ensure that teams are also given a break with families as well. So that alignment actually helps with that. So it is something that we want to do. It is something that we need to do in consultation, honestly, with ZBF, because it means that even their programs have to be aligned as well. They need to tell us they have A, B, C, D, and we start here, and we ensure that we're on the same page. But to answer your question, yes, alignment would be good, because then it helps the team that qualifies and doesn't disrupt the league. So I would be happy if we could do that, and it's something we're looking into.
Okay, so let me come to Mulo. Mulo, your thoughts and last words.
First, I've got a question. Luwosi and Harry and Milken. Is there a written rule somewhere that the Super League teams in the NBA cannot play on outdoor courts in Lusaka?
Good question, sir.
There is no rule.
Then why on planet Earth?
There is no rule, sir. Provided that the court is available and is of standard to play the game, then we are good to go.
So the 12 teams in your Super League, you're telling me none of them have got outdoor courts that are of standard, that we can play from, that you can play from, than crying for Canalsberg every time?
I like that question.
Which one? You can help us if we got in schools. I'll give a practical example.
I am not from Lusaka. I do not know your terrain.
You're not from Lusaka.
Okay. Milken, is Buffalo not good enough? Is Buffalo not good enough?
Dolphin, where's your home court? Which is your home court?
Zamchu is my home court.
Okay, Zamchu is your home court. Sons, Harry, what's your home court?
It's outdoor, Zamchu.
Zamchu outdoor. Kings, what's their home court?
They don't have.
They have no court.
As big as they are. That's better.
They have no court.
I did not say that. I did not say that. Okay.
And they're in the championship. They have no court.
Nice.
You gotta love Zambia, man. You gotta love Zambia.
Okay, anyway. But, okay, seriously. You guys need to look at it, because that's the only other way that you are really going to sell basketball. You know, look at where Magic came from. Magic was playing from Matero. When do we see? When do that name, the Matero guys, get to see Magic playing in Matero? You bougie people, Dolphin. Yeah, you're just hiding in there. Do you have fun? Do they even know who Dolphin is with that basketball that you play? Because you hide in that hole. You are supported by people from other teams, but nobody from the outside knows you. Maybe they do. Don't answer that, Milken. Suns, really, seriously, you call yourself Suns. You're supposed to be playing in the sun. And look at the court that you use. Conrad, really, seriously? You guys need to really look into that. Why we don't even have, sometimes we're even afraid of playing best of three is because we are traveling from town to town. 1 minute you're playing in Ndola, the other minute you're in Wansha, the other minute you're where, the other minute you're where. You've got so much mileage to cover, so much expenses. And you look and say, every month I have to spend maybe 20,000 just on basketball. Yet that's coming from my pocket. How? So you guys just need to look into that aspect. I know Milken said manpower is an issue, but guys, let's say, okay, fine. What's the highlight of this weekend? Oh, we've got a Magic Suns. Who's on top? Who's home? Magic. Okay, fine. We'll play in Nasdaq. Oh, we've got Kings. Kings is playing who? Oh, Kings is playing Buffalo. Who's on top? Buffalo. We're going to play from Buffalo's home, and that's where all the other games are going to be. Why can't we do that? To sell the game. Let the people get to see the big boys. But unfortunately, the big boys don't have courts. Unfortunately, the big boys need to put on sunscreen as if they are me to be in the sun. Really? So anyway, going forward, I'm waiting to see who I'm going to play in the national championships. I'm not happy that we have to play over the festive season, but like ZBF have said, certain calendars have to be matched up with. So we shall try and make ourselves available for that period. My players who are planning on having pork chops, ribs, turkey cannot have all those things because they'll be too fat to run. We'll not have all that. We'll try and have that after the games, maybe have them for Valentine's. You never know. But yeah, going forward, let's try and make basketball professional. Let's try and run ZBF like a business. Let's be accountable. Let's be transparent. And bottom line is, let's love one another. Harry, I love you, no homo. Milken, you know I love you, boy. Lucy, hey. That's a hey as a nigga, hey. Oh, I can't use the N-word, huh? Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's take the mic. It's going to be midnight soon, and Harry's aesthetics are going to fall off. That's Cinderella right there. Careful. You need to get him off that chair.
Okay. Let me come to Milken. Milken, deliberately I've decided to come to you because of the interesting thing that Mulo has said. And I think this is a conversation that I've had an opportunity, to interface with different people on the possibility of taking basketball back to the community, because that is where our fan base is. A lot of people move from communities to go and watch football in designated places. So going into next year, maybe Super League would be far-fetched. Would we maybe say we structure some B-League games to be able to be played in respective communities, to be able to start pulling the crowds and ultimately develop a cadre of fans that would come to Nasdaq, OIDC, and Zamshu and everywhere else where we do play basketball, even as you give your final thoughts?
That one is possible, more especially in the Arakan. We can do that, and OIDC we can do that. But then for Arakan, I'm very positive because definitely there will be no any fees that are going to be paid. But the question is, like I said in my preambles, not an excuse. Will be That's a two-man mechanism, a playing system, meaning that we need to have two referees, and we need to have also um, two people at the table, and then meaning that we're going to revert back to the stopwatch because we don't have the equipment, of course, the shot clock equipment. It's possible, and we have to inspect. I did an inspection. I was given a task by MBA to move around, to check Chainama College, to check University of Zambia, and to go check in Mataro itself. And University of Zambia was okay. There's a good court there. We can play from that side. It's possible to see University of Zambia hosting games if there are no exams in there and Arakan. Yes, we will see BD games being played to the community, and we hope and trust that we're going to have quite a number of referees coming on board to come and do the service that we say it's a voluntary service. We hope to have more people to come and help out. We will see that.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Milken. Let me come to Harry. Harry, obviously, I'm just laughing at David. David wants to cause confusion here. Magic only has indoor sneakers. We can't play. Okay, I think Mulo, once the show is done, respond to this comment, please. Coach Harry, obviously coming to you. We've discussed a number of things, and what I just want to get from you is just to speak to what, as you wrap up, and maybe something else that is on your mind, what would you want to see, coming into next year with regards how basketball, should be run or how it should move? The autopilot that you talked about, how we can avoid the autopilot.
Okay. To MBA, I think I would give my concerns, which maybe Boss Lubosi, Milken, and the entire MBA executive can actually look at. Number one, I love the fact that you guys are thinking towards increasing the number of games. It's brilliant. Secondly, I also want you guys to address that position of the technical coordinator. It's a very, very important position. It cannot go vacant for so long. It's an elective position. Maybe you should consider running elections for that position, which is the right thing according to the Constitution. It's not by appointment. It's an elective position. So maybe the NBA executive can correct that. The other thing that I want also to address or bring to your attention is really to acknowledge that those positions are elective, and you need the entire basketball people to grow. Your executive, unfortunately, has been shutting down anyone who brings critics. There's that NBA forum WhatsApp group that I was chucked out because I questioned why the B-League would go on without basketball, the nets in Zambia. I went to watch my team, Zika's Blazers, play, and unfortunately, there were no nets. And there was no match ball. Okay? They had to use a ball from a certain team, which was very finished. I queried that in the NBA group, and unfortunately, the general secretary saw it as an attack, and I was removed from that group. Many other people have been removed from that group, meaning your executive is not open to critics. So a lot of us have kept quiet, and
remove
as
him.
much as we would want
Even
to
us, let's remove him.
that was a platform for us to give concerns. But it's so unfortunate that you saw them as attacks and they were removed and we were removed. A number of us
But
have been removed from
contribution,
that
not
group.
my attack.
Yes. So even we need to come to a table to understand what elective positions comes with. Look at how our president cried to say Zambians can make you think that you've been running this country for 10 years. It's because those are elective positions. If I give my vote to you to be my president, to be my general secretary, you need to listen to my concerns when I'm affected. It's for you to get some and throw them away or to throw everything away. But to clearly shut everyone out and running basketball as you wish, it has been very unfortunate for NBA affiliates. The other point that I also want to challenge the
My battery is
NBA
even on 10%.
is that ever since you were put in that office, we haven't seen reports from your office, and you guys have not had any physical meeting with your affiliates. The last two that I've attended were all virtual meetings. I think it's important to bring everyone to the table, hear their concerns, get their ideas on how you can improve the game. No man is an island. Even the person that you think is the dumbest can contribute to the growth of basketball just by telling you one thing to do correctly. So this is an executive that I feel it's not open to its affiliates. You shutting down everyone. I would advise you to get back to the drawing board, open up to everyone. A lot of people might come out in a negative way, but we love basketball. We want basketball to improve. We want basketball to grow. It's a family to all of us. And we appreciate your work. We appreciate your sacrifices and accommodate everyone moving forward. Take this season as a great lesson for you guys and improve the next season. Please do not shut down everyone. It is from those, I was in executive, and I can tell you to say it was from all those.
And you have to get back in the executive to come and do these things you're talking about also.
No, I'm saying it was through all those critics that made us better. You need them. Please bring everyone back to that forum and allow people to express themselves. People cannot live in fear when they voted for you. You will need their vote again. I end there.
Harry has been removed.
So please, Mr. Lewis, if you are the admin, add us to that group also. Milking. Why are you not adding us to that group, Milking?
But anyway, 8 years, I won't stand again.
The other thing, I know Mulo's battery is about to die. I know your battery is about to die. And I think there was an important question that was asked by Coach Lavmos Kale, if I remember correctly. And I felt like I've just remembered. So trust me, I wanted to close right now, but I just feel even in less than a minute, Milken and Luwosi, if you can address this question. He spoke about having people in certain positions that are not affiliated to teams. Okay? So how do we, going forward, how do we address that? I know Mulo is a culprit here. He is a very good GS on the Copper Belt. At the same time, he's the head coach for a team that plays in the league that he's overseeing as the GS. But how do we strike a balance, when it comes to leadership credibility at the end of the day? Luwosi, quickly.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. I hear him very well.
Or maybe since Mulo's battery is about to die, hold your thought. Before this gentleman lies and says the battery has died when he just wants to run away. Mulo.
Blackout. The last ZBF, not this one, I think the previous one, this came up when conflict of interest was brought up. And we said, I think we had given ourselves to this season, that come next season, we'll try to have people in positions where there's no conflict of interest. It is something that we can try, but to be honest, on what's on the ground, it is very difficult. You know, when you look at our team structures, this is how, look at our team structures. Getting people who are not part of the team to manage the team is a problem. Getting people to manage basketball with all the chaos, the amateurish going on is a problem. How many people from outside do we have that can come into the game and that can sit in positions such as the president, the what, affect or impact the game? It's a difficult thing. Look at ZBF. Nearly each one of those people that are there is somewhat affiliated to a club. We are trying to get away from it, but we don't have people who are not followers, who we cannot see in black and white that this guy is Suns, this guy is what, and he's in a position. Yes, we spoke about it even at the AGM that we need to get that done. But unfortunately, the environment we're in does not allow. And this is why I think moving basketball out of NASDAQ, going into areas where a lot of people get to see you, will bring about people maybe who can get interested and try to help the game grow. Walk into NASDAQ today, walk into NASDAQ 2 years from now, you find the same old people there. You find Harry with his pink hair still there. You will not see a new face. The only new face you are going to see is the guy who was on the court, who can no longer play, now is in the stands. You come to the Copper Belt. Yes, we are getting people who are interested in the game because we play in an open area where people are passing, they hear noise, they come, they see this, they see this, they see this. But when they start looking at the structures we have, that at the moment hinders them from adding their 2 cents to it. They'll tell you, maybe if you do this, you do this, you do this. Maybe we could have tried it, but it didn't work. We'll try to explain it, and they'll walk away like that. So it's something that we need to work towards too. Yes, I'm a culprit, yes, but at the end of the day, I'll have to try to be as impartial as possible when it comes to adjudicating my duties. Right now, I'm the GS. On the court, I'm a coach. When we're not playing, I'm in the stands, I'm a fan. I'm fighting a referee. It's as simple as that. Okay, so you just have to separate me on those, unfortunately.
You've just described an interesting scenario that again would open another Pandora's box, but hey, not tonight. We don't have time. Bwana Lubosi, before I get to my big Bwana here, Milkid, Bwana Lubosi, over to you. This issue of people feeling like you are a former Basket Kings. Okay, then it was Pacers, but now it's Basket Kings. So they're like, no. This president obviously will be favoring Basket Kings, So tell us, how do we cure this? How are we guilty of this?
No, honestly, I think Mullah has actually just explained it perfectly. Our numbers are not big enough to say that we have people who are interested in some of these positions and are not affiliated to any other team. It's something that we need. Good governance demands that there's full impartiality, there's no affiliation, but unfortunately, the basketball is still a growing sport. It's still a small sport, so it's always one family. Like you will see the same faces. One would think that even if we try bring in the big boys, Scads and all those that fall in that group, they're still affiliated to some teams that they do like. I think it's an issue that we need to address. Right now, we just need to, because of the small number that we have, we need to just have a culture of objectivity, a culture of being able to be impartial enough to know that even if I make this decision, it's against a team that I'm affiliated to, but these are the rules. This is how we proceed. This is what we are guided by, and we proceed that way. So I think for now, because the numbers are small and we don't have external people who are not those who've come through the ranks of basketball, but have a passion of basketball, till we get to that stage, what we can do for now is try pay close adherence to what our rules are, what the guidance is, what our constitution says, and try be as impartial as possible and as fair as possible. Just the other day, one of the senior colleagues in basketball was also saying, no, we must learn to be able to apply everything the same for everyone. If you did that for Magic, do that for somebody else. If you did that for Kings, do that for somebody else. And that's all we can do for now. But to honestly, as we move forward, we'll try to bring in those independent people who are not affiliated with any team. But it's something that is far-fetched as at now, but it's something we need to work towards. So I think it's just a matter of time.
Okay, my big bwana. Obviously, as your lieutenant, as your junior lieutenant, self-appointed, I would like to find out from you. I want us to put this matter to rest, okay? I've received so many people. No, milking this, Mr. Milking that, milking this, milking that. He's manipulating the fixture. He's favoring other teams against other teams because he's from this team and is also affiliated to that team. Sir, with your permission, I would like us to clear the air. What would you say to that? Are you guilty, sir?
No, I'm not. I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty in the sense that my fixture, when I make it for the whole season, and we follow each and every week the way it is. The unfortunate part is if Wenson is not available on that particular day and he seeks for permission not to be available for that particular fixture, then it means that fixture becomes a catch-up fixture, which can be played at any day and any time, unfortunately, because it's a rescheduled game. But if a game has not been played, then we continue from where we had stopped from. Black and white. I think the first time that I took over as a competition secretary, for the first time, for all the basketball people, I came with my personal gadget to educate and show them how it is done. A blank fixture, each and every team came in front, picked a number. As they picked a number, the mechanism itself generates and positions fixture, who to play with. I don't select. It is the mechanism which I can share with any other person. No matter how much you corner it, you cannot manage to put Harry versus Milken versus Wenson. You can only pick the first game. That's the only game that you can manipulate. The rest of the games, the whole entire season, it is 100% impossible because it is generated by the mechanism itself, which I can share with any other person like I had brought before. Rescheduled game is when a team writes and says, we are unable to fulfill it. And for other teams, of course, like you have said, milk and this, milk and that, they get concerned. But you will never hear to say, last week, Queens did not play. But then Queens had written, but then they didn't go into their bedroom to ask why they did not play. But let another team miss a game. You will see questions on social media. Why are they not playing? Who do you write to? You write to a person or to the association that we are affiliated to seek for permission. And we cannot go in public media to say the reason why Wenson is not playing today is because he had requested because he's got a funeral, and the whole entire team have all gone to, for example, a funeral, or because Wenson today has got this and that. So every team has got a right, whenever they've got a challenge, to write to the federation or association on time. What I can say is each and every member in basketball, unfortunately, they are all attached to team. For me, I am attached to teams that people have seen me grow with through my basketball life. But then the good part about it is, come next 10 years, I'm hanging my boot. I'm saying goodbye because I've done justice from the time that I took over from Dan Pedro today. Like we said, it's a voluntary work. Let another person volunteer. Come and do it. Let them get their own system. Let them get their own data, their own laptops, run up and down, get their own time. Then they should also feel what it is to be in that position. Us, we don't complain, but we love to work, and we work to the fullest. I've worked to the fullest. I'm not really blowing my own trumpet, but I can tell you to say from the time that I took over as basketball competition secretary, I think basketball has never been the same. From your playing time that you had played Wendy, and even the playing time of the Harry Chancers, the Yeta Lubosi, and the one that I have right now, it's 100% very different. But bottom line is, as we are closing the curtains, we're closing the chapter. We're going into farming. I submit, sir.
Interesting, indeed. Interesting. Anyway, Boss Lubosi, send me an email. I think I would like to send an application since Bwana Milken has said his goodbyes to the people. So please consider me for that position. Eh? And I won't come with my own laptop. Why? You have a laptop, Milken. I will use yours. I have to get the handover from you. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's been such a fun conversation, honesty, tackling issues head on. And that is the beauty about this platform. The gentlemen that you see on the screen right now, do this for basketball. They choose to come here, open themselves up like this, not because they don't have better things to do. Lubosi, that is right there. This man is ever in court. Probably he has a court session tomorrow, whatever time, but he's here answering questions, getting the critique, the criticism and all these things. And personally, I feel that is the best of leadership that we can get. That is the leadership that I think going forward we want. They may not be perfect. They may not deliver according to the way we expect. But one thing that I'll always commend you guys for is the fact that you always come through when we need you, when we hold you accountable. It's not in the corridors, it's not in the back rooms, but you come here in front of everybody else. We challenge you, we ask you questions, you give us the answers and give people an opportunity to get to scrutinize you. I think this is something that is very, very important. And my basketball administrator there, thank you for coming through. I know you've got a game tomorrow, but you had to still find time to come here, share from your experiences and be able to talk to these people and candidly challenge them and not just talk bad about them, when they are not there, as to what they can do, which they're not doing, but you can tell it in their faces in front of the entire world so that everybody else knows that the reason why we're having conversations like this, it's because we want basketball to grow. We don't hate Lubosi, we don't hate Mulo, we don't hate Milken, but we want basketball to improve. And when we feel something is not being done right, we ask Milken, we ask everybody else and say, guys, what's going on? Explain to us. If it doesn't make sense, we still Tell them it doesn't make sense, you know, but all the more we are honest with each other. And I feel that is the best starting point. So thank you very much for coming through, Bwana Luosi. I hope to see you again before the season starts. And Bwana Milken, I hope by then you will have not yet hung that laptop, but you can still come back here and be able to tell us one or two things as to what we should expect in the coming season. But of course, we expect Zika's Blazers to play next year with at least nets on the rim, with at least, you know, a good basketball, with at least, Bwana Luosi, with at least a functioning shot clock. You know, those are things that we want to see when we come to play the game of basketball. And as a journalist who writes about basketball, I think I want statistics more than anything else. I just want us to have statistics so that we can start going somewhere and create a narrative that will improve the game of basketball itself. So, gentlemen, all in all, thank you very much for coming through. 2 hours is not a joke. Just to be able to talk, it shows there's commitment, there's love for the game of basketball. So to everybody that has been watching, commenting, Alison, David, Coach Love Moskale, the old timer, you know, who still can't sleep but wants to see what's happening in basketball, we appreciate you, old man, and everybody else, you know, that is watching and that was locked in to be able to contribute to this conversation. It shows that as a community, we are together, and in our diversity, I think this will be my last message, in our diversity, in our disagreements, in our criticism, let us always remember that at the end of the day, what unites and connects us is basketball. Therefore, let this not be again the thing that divides and causes us to hate each other. So to everybody else, good night and see you
on the next assignment. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.